This video is going to go over similar figures. Similar figures have proportional side lengths and congruent angles. What we're going to look at today is when there is a side length that's missing in similar figures, we're going to figure out the scale factor or the proportional relationship between those two so that we can determine how long this side would be. Here's some steps that I like to use when I'm solving for a missing side length. The first thing is I need to match up what sides correspond with each other. If this shape is going in the same direction, it's really easy. But if not, you can look at the name of the shape and those letters, the way they're arranged. If you line them up with each other, then you'll see which ones correspond. My second step for what I do is I like to take the letters in the name, and I'll take the first and second letter and I'll match them up and I'll make them the same color. Then I would do that same thing for the second and the third letter in the name of the shapes. And if it's a triangular figure, then you'll just have a third set. I'll make those be the same color so I can know which angles and then which side lengths go together. The third step that I'm going to do to find a missing side length is I'm going to create a proportion for those side measurements that correspond. It's going to look like two fractions, and then I'll cross multiply and divide to find the missing measurement. The first example in this video, it says look at triangle ABC, and it's similar to EFG. When we get ready to solve this one, I'm going to pull these tabs out. Step 1 says write the names of the triangles. Line up the letters. Okay, so at the top, I have ABC as one triangle, and then the other one is EFG. So the order that those letters are going in, I have A, then I have B, and then I had C. I'm going to go in the same exact order with the name of the second triangle. It was called EFG. When you stack these on top of each other and color code them, you can tell real quick the two purple angles go together, the two blues go together, and the two greens. If you don't want to color code them, then it's just the letters that are stacked up underneath, above and below each other. When you get ready to do your line segments, you do the first two with the first two. Those are corresponding. Then the second and the third letter, second and third letter, and then the first and last, first and last. And that's how I'm going to color code these shapes in just a moment. Leave that up at the top so we can still see it. All right, pull out my step number 2. This says color code the matching line segments, and I could write down the ones that should go together, but when you look over here at the letters, it's pretty easy to see what goes with each other. These two triangles, they're set up in the same exact direction, so just looking at these will be really easy for me to tell. Since these are going in the same direction, they're set up, I'm just going to move this out of the way, and I'm just going to color code them like they are the way they're sitting. A to B is the same as E to F. B to C is the same as F to G. And the last pairing would be A to C is the same as E to G. And if you're unsure of why I did those, I'm looking over here at the letters, and that's how I'm pairing them up. Now the question wants me to find out what is this missing measurement right here. There's a variable letter M. I'm going to use the relationship between the two sides I do know and see how they are, and then apply that same relationship to these two green lines so I can get the missing measurement. I'm going to pull out this tab that says step 3, and I'm going to write in it. For myself, the way I solve these is I'm going to create my proportion, which is going to look like two fractions, and then I'm going to cross multiply and divide. I'm going to start out and I'm going to put the two purples that I know to start setting up my ratios or my proportions. The small triangle was 2, and it is in the same position as 4. Both of those were purple. And I need to go back. I'm starting with the triangle that had the 2 in it. The number that I know that's also there is the green one, and it's a 7. So I want to put 7 underneath the 2. And the other green line in the big triangle is the one that's missing. So I'm going to use the letter M under the 4. So really what I did was I made a fraction, 1 for each triangle. This first one says basically 2/7, which are these two together. And then I have to do my second one in the same exact order. So I did purple and then green, which is 4 over M. Okay? And sometimes the numbers go really easy together, like, hey, a 2 turned into a 4. That's just twice as big. So my bottom relationship should have the same thing. If, for example, they didn't do that, I could do step 4, which is cross multiply, and then divide. But this one's so easy, that's all I'm going to do. I'm going to say that I would do 2 times 2, and that's how I get 4. I need the relationship to be the same down here. So 7 times 2 equals, that would be 14. So my missing measurement for the large triangle would be 14 yards. Okie dokie. On triangle BCA. The letters do not always have to be in alphabetical order. You just go with what they tell you the order is supposed to be. BCA, and then the next triangle is DEF. Again, my steps over here on the side are the same. Step 1 says line up your letters so you can know which angles correspond, especially in this situation, because these figures, they are not turned going in the same direction. So it's going to be a little trickier. So I'm going to line up those letters first. And I need to do that by looking at the top. And it said B, C, A. And that should correspond with D, E, F. Now I can use that to color code. When I look at this, B to C is going to go with D to E. That's going to be a little tricky to see here, but that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to pick my first color and go from B to C. And now I need to do D to E the same color. D to E. Same color. The other line that I know is C to A, which is right here. I went with the next 2 letters, C to A. The one that corresponds with that would be E to F. So in the same color, whatever you did, we need to go E to F. All right, I got that out of the way, moved it up here so we can move on to the next thing. Step 2, basically I already did that. I color-coded the sides that went together. On step 3, now I need to determine the missing measurement. I need to know how long this line is where the M is set up. I've got my color-coded line segments. They're going to go together. And then my 2 blue line segments are going to go together as well. It doesn't really matter if you put the shape on the left first or the shape on the right first. It's totally your choice. I'm going to start with one on the left, which is 4. And it was in the same position as 5 on the big figure. Underneath the 4, I've got to put these 2 together because they're in the same shape. So 4 is going to match with 2. And the M is the one that matches with 5. Okay, so these are set now. There's a couple things you can think about on this one. If you go sideways, this one doesn't have a very easy relationship to see. It's never going to be add or subtract. Relationships in proportional figures always have to be through multiplication or division. Okay, so going sideways, not very easy to see. Going up and down, though, this time, I can see that this is an easy relationship. The top number is twice as big as the bottom, or I could say the bottom is half as big as the top one. So I have a 5. The number underneath it needs to be half as big. If you know exactly what is half of 5, then you can put it right here. If you're unsure or you get a question that's not easy to solve, then your option is cross multiply and divide. Okay, I can do 2 times 5, and that's 10. And then the other number that's left over is a 4. I'm going to divide 4 into 10, and then that's going to be my missing measurement. So 4 divides with 10 2 times. That's 8. There's a remainder of 2. Add a decimal, bring down a 0. And then 4 divides with 20 evenly 5 times. That means my answer for this missing measurement right here should be 2.5. And it was labeled in meters, so that would be my final answer for that one.